Greetings and salutations, and it has been a while. And we are back with more Diablo 2 Hardcore One Talent Challenge. Now, we are quickly approaching the 1 year mark of when I started my YouTube channel, which obviously for a lot of people doesn't mean much to them, but it means a lot to me. And I'm going to be doing a live stream. I don't know exactly on what medium. I don't know if it's going to be on YouTube, or if it's going to be on Kick, or if it's going to be on Twitch, or if I'm going to be able to multi-stream. I am not 100% certain. I'm going to have to kind of sort that out when I get there. But it is going to be, I choose the class, you choose the talent on that stream. And it's going to be a one talent challenge. We're going to see if I can actually get through the game. I already have my class decided, but I'm hoping that I don't get completely railroaded by the choice of talent, though I know that people probably will. It's been a while since I played this, and quite frankly, I miss it. Mostly because there is a point to where, I can sit back, kind of relax, not really think about a lot while I'm playing, and just kind of wax philosophically. And something I've noticed recently in a lot of games, you have basically diametric, I almost want to say diametrically opposed, but I'm not 100% certain that that's exactly the words I want to say. But you have the games that are constantly trying to push, you have one side of games which is trying to push like representation of everyone and everything, and then on the other side you have games that are just trying to cater to the male, player base, almost to a gratuitous degree, fan service degree, like you'd see in like anime. They do very fan servicey things in anime. Now, where do I end up on this? I personally end up in the whole area of, does the game play well? Does it control well? I'm gonna go back and get my mercenary. Does the game control well? Does the game play smoothly? Are there, massive frame rate drops? Are there, technical errors in the game? I don't care if it's trying to send a message. I don't care if it's trying to hit every box and tick every box. I don't care. None of that matters. Does the game play well? Is the game fun to play? Is it enjoyable? Those matter more. Fun factor, replayability. The graphics don't even matter, because some of the best games I've played have been like 8-bit pixel games. Like I've played Halls of Torment. Halls of Torment's a great game. It's like an auto attacking game, kind of like almost Castlevania-ish. Vampire Survivors is another one. Really good games, but it's not mandatory that they have high pixels, or be good looking. I'm used to playing stuff like that. I've played vintage games. I mean, come on, I had a whole retro relaxing series, which I need to go back and revive that, at least very little, and try to play some of the older Mario games and whatnot. Have a little fun with it, because I haven't played them in a month of Sundays.
I don't like it down here.
Neither do I, lady. But you gotta do what you gotta do. Yeah, I enjoy pixelated games. I've played Rogue Legacy. Not on the channel, but I've played Rogue Legacy. Love the game. Pixelated. I used to play Mega Man's. Very pixelated game back in the day. Again, the graphics really don't matter in a game. Somewhere along the line, game developers lost the plot. The plot is to make a game that is fun, has replayability factor, even if it's a make your own fun type of game, just so you know. And there's a couple of them out there, and people are probably going to be like, what do you mean by make your own fun? Well, for example, I'm going to give 2 examples of a game that is make your own fun, and they are not even remotely in the same genre. Minecraft and Call of Duty. Now, there is going to be obviously a little bit of discrepancy with, what constitutes fun, of course. But with Minecraft, there are people out there that mod Minecraft and they play modded Minecraft and they enjoy it and they like doing a whole bunch of stuff like that. Meanwhile, you have people like me who like to build massive structures in Minecraft on survival. I don't care for playing through the game and killing the bosses. It does not interest me in the least. But you have those two types of people that like to make their own fun. You also have the people that like to do PvP in Minecraft. Technoblade, older person that did it. He's unfortunately passed. But Technoblade used to do it. Technoblade used to play PvP on Minecraft a lot. And you have those people that make their own fun in that regard. Call of Duty is much in the same way, like me trying to do shoddy snipes or pistol sniping. So there is that make your own fun in that regard. And there's also the fact of me trying to run around and detonate people with, say, C4 in Call of Duty. A very make your own fun style game. And if you're not having fun playing it, don't play it, you know? But there just has to be that sense of you need people to have fun playing the game. So the primary factor in the games should be fun. Fun and replayability. I mean, it's fine to have a game have a single ending and have like a 100% trophy or something that you want to go for, an achievement. Having that drive to 100% the game and complete it wholly and completely is one thing that causes replayability factor. But there's a lot of games out there that do not have any sort of replayability. Like, they're a one and done, and you're like, but why? And I've never understood that. I've never understood the whole mentality behind, we're going to make a one and done type of experience. Now, obviously, you're going to have people that only want to play a game once because once they've beaten it, what's the point in redoing it, right? And so they kind of upturn their nose at the thought of replayability factor, which was a main thing I've noticed that kind of has diminished over the time since the 80s and 90s. Back in the 80s and 90s, you had a massive replayability factor. Games that, either for nostalgia reasons, boredom reasons, or just outright you didn't own enough games reasons, you sat down and played again even though you had already beaten it. Maybe you wanted to do better. Maybe you wanted to beat it with a different ability or a different weapon or a different way. Like Diablo and Diablo 2. Like Warcraft 2 and those types of games. There's a lot of reasons for people to replay a game. And I think that that's gone by the wayside because now everybody's like, well, where's the online play? To me, a game doesn't necessarily need online play. It doesn't have to be online permanently either. The terminally online game where you have to have a connection to the internet to enjoy it, in quotes. No, that's not it. That's where I think part of this gaming industry has gone off the rails. And then you have the other part of the gaming industry that went off the rails by alienating its fan base. I had this discussion with Peter the other day. I was actually live streaming Splitgate 2, which Splitgate's a decent game. I don't have any qualms against it. It's got a couple of bugs in it, but it's in beta. Understandable. Allowable. And I've made a Twitter post trying to inform Splitgate because I hate their bug submission program. Because their bug submission program's like, there's no submission area for technical issues in the game. There's stuff for like graphical issues, etc., and so on. And it's like, okay, but the issue I'm having is I try to turn the look inversion on, and it doesn't turn on. I mean, it affects a very small amount of the player base, but, you know, it's kind of crucial that they fix that because, you know, with it not working, kind of needs to work. Just saying. At any rate, look inversion aside, the game is fun. Like, Splitgate 2 is fun. But I was mentioning this to Peter that, you know, Helldivers 2, also a fun game back when it was not putting an embargo on 120 countries and then calling, you know, half of its player base fascists, was doing very well until, well, putting an embargo on 120 plus countries and then calling half of their player base fascists. And they kind of burn up a lot of the goodwill because they basically, you know, Pilestat came out and said, well, something very akin to, oh, well, if you enjoy Helldivers 2, you show fascistic traits. Something to that effect. I'm paraphrasing here. And it made a headline in the newspaper, well, not newspaper, but in a magazine or an article. Made a headline in an article, and it's like, do you really want to go down that route and alienate your player base? No. I mean, you just spent a whole bunch of time and energy making a fun event for players to enjoy, what few there are left because of the embargo. And that's more of a Sony's fault, but, I mean, Helldivers could have been like, no, we're putting our foot down, we want them all back, or we're not doing it at all. And they didn't do it. So, kind of falls on them too. Nevertheless, what little bit of player base was left, you basically took a look at them and said, yeah, we just made this fun event, but now we're going to essentially label you pseudo-war criminals for enjoying the game. And then why... Yes. Why did you make the game then? Did you just figure halfway through we were going to rug pull everybody and then make it so that they feel bad for enjoying a game that they should enjoy? You know, it's like that scene that they make a GIF out of. Bold move, Cotton. Let's see how it plays out for them. It didn't play out very well. In fact, they got review bombed yet again because their event was forcing people to do things they didn't want to do. And I mean, they've pretty much burned up all of their good karma, their social capital. It was once a rife and thriving, you know, player base is now all but gone. And all they had to do was just basically stand up against Sony, and then when it came to everything else, just sit down and shut up. Make content, interact with stuff that's a little bit too powerful, nerf that, buff other things, but otherwise don't go out and say things that are essentially alienating player base. All they had to do. And it would have printed money. And would have kept printing money. They just couldn't help themselves. And I don't understand it. Plus, games don't have to look good like Helldivers. Games don't have to look good for me to play them, or for other people to play them. People will play games of any description so long as the replayability is there. And of course you have the people saying, well, some of the replayability factor was gone out of Helldivers because it's you drop on a planet, you have the same set of missions over and over. Okay, but there's different circumstances, there's different spawns, there's different players generally in every mission, unless you're playing with a group of friends. there is still, like, a wide breadth of decisions to make. Fire traps work pretty good. Wow, that's it for the drop?
Comes you, Andariel.
That's a lame drop. And I think that gaming has become too politically motivated, and it's created this rift where you can't enjoy a game in one way or another without being labeled. They just need to stop doing that. It's like, oh, you like that game? Well, you're this. Oh, you like this game? Well, you're that. Well,
Good evening.
how about I like a game because it's fun? Whatever happened to that concept, you know?
Where can I take you?
And there's a lot of things that have happened. You've got
Greetings.
other things where the players of the game went on to become developers of games, and then those developers stopped
How do I?
making games for
Yes.
effectively the public. They started instead making games for the shareholders. And I think that's where a lot of the things started to go awry. Because you had
I'll bet you.
shareholders now making decisions for a game that should not have had shareholders making decisions.
I'll put that to good use. Good day.
Because the shareholders and the CEOs and the upper management, they don't really care about the game. They never have. I hate to say it. In fact, they care about profit margin. What's the most profitable solution? Which is why a lot of the games have gone to a whole bunch of gacha. Prime example for that would be like Honkai Star Rail. What was that idiotic one that everybody played for a long time? Hold on, it'll come to me in a minute. I cannot remember it. Genshin Impact. A lot of people played Genshin. A lot of people played a whole bunch of other stuff. And to be honest with you, I didn't see the entire appeal behind Genshin at all.
I'll put that to good use. I'll put that to good use.
I played it long enough just to get a feel of what it was, and then it just kind of felt forced, if that makes sense. But it's everything's gone, either over monetized in terms of like some form of not really pay to win, but take a look at Diablo 4. Cosmetics. It's pay to look cool, but why do you need it? Why did Diablo 4 need a battle pass? It didn't. Right? Especially considering you can't play the battle pass and then spend what you have in the battle, what you earn out of the battle pass to buy the next battle pass. At least they can do that. At least they do that in Call of Duty. You can at least afford a battle pass with what you earned out of a battle pass. So, used to be you'd earn more out of a battle pass than you put into the battle pass. And of course, they increased the price of the battle pass by another 300 points, thus making it equivocable. So, whatever you put into the battle pass, you get out of the battle pass. But nevertheless, so long as you have 1,100 COD points, you can get the battle pass for free. It doesn't cost you a dime. And so long as you keep completing the battle passes, which isn't very hard, you can keep getting them for free. So you can at least do that, which is a good strategy. It's not over monetized. Optional monetization, like pardon me for a second. Optional monetization, like the certain skins and tracer packs and stuff like that. Yes, it's become pernicious, and yes, they've pushed it, but it's not like those blueprints or anything like that are overpowered, because anybody can take those blueprints, see what the pieces are, and build a gun that looks just like it, or functions just like it in Call of Duty. Yes, they've gotten egregious and kind of money grabbing, but it's not pay to win more, it's pay to look cool. But you also have to think why they market it the way they do. They market it the way they do because there's a large contingent of players that play Warzone for free, and that's all they play. These skin packs and everything are designed to target the Warzone players, not the bog standard COD players. And how do I know this is when I'm playing Black Ops 6, I rarely see people playing with a skin equipped. They're playing as like the default operators generally, and they're playing the game with default setups generally. The buying of the skins is mostly for the Warzone players, which again makes sense. You know, if you think about it, Warzone's free for everybody, so you monetize that section of the game so that you get money out of those players, because you're playing a game for free and they're enjoying it for nothing, and they're a burden on the servers to a degree. So you bring something out that they throw $10 at, $20 at. Players will do it. It's a great idea. But then you have games like Fortnite, which have been free forever, and yet they're still making money with some of the crossover IPs. And yes, Call of Duty is getting bad to that degree too. Like I said, none of it's a pay to win. Whereas in like Genshin Impact, it is pay to do better. And in things like Diablo Immortal, or as I call it, Diablo Immortal, it's pay to win. 100% pay to win. And it kind of drags down, to me, the value of the game in and of itself. It used to be that you used to have some sort of integrity when it came to that. And I know people say, well, you play Hearthstone, which has pay-to-win mechanics in it. It does, but I also spend a lot of time working on it in terms of making sure my card collection is concurrent by doing the daily quests. Hearthstone may have a pay-to-win mechanic in it, but at the same time, if you've put any time and energy into actually doing the dailies and doing the weekly quests, you get plenty of gold, enough to actually get cards and the mini sets almost every single rotation. And you still have tons of dust that you can then craft the cards you don't have. It's gotten less pay to win on Hearthstone than it used to be. So it's kind of coming back around. Playing Magic the Gathering is pay to win too. Really think about it. Because those cards are physical, essentially. So you guaranteed need them. It's just a fun little nuance, though. I think games, once they start realizing that it's actually hurting them to be pay to win to a degree, it's hurting their overall popularity as a game. The reason that is because you have players that want to avoid that pay-to-win mechanic, and they will legitimately reject it with everything on their being to try to get away from that mechanic. I don't think that there's going to be a game that will hit every audience. I don't think there's gonna be a return to games that aren't over monetized, because again, shareholders are the ones doing this. Like the big CEOs and higher ups are the ones actively doing it. Sorry about that. I had to mute the sneeze. The reason I had to mute the sneeze is because, well, I don't think anybody wanted to hear that, to be honest with you. But shareholders have led to some of the worst decisions in gaming. Honestly. They should have just said, you know what? Let the gamers decide with their wallets. We're going to design the game to hit the aspects of gaming that matter most, and then we're just going to let the players decide. And whatever profits you make, you make. And it's like, I get that companies have to make money. I get this. It's not a concept lost on me. I also get that sometimes it doesn't behoove them to behave in such a way. But it feels like... It almost feels like people are trying to batch... So like I was saying earlier, to one of two demographics. And I think they need to stop doing that. Like, if you take a look at Stellar Blade, there's a lot of people that are saying, oh, Stellar Blade's not really that good because there's not that, the mechanics aren't there, the replayability, the fun factor's not there. And then you have the people that hate on Stellar Blade because the woman, they say, is unrealistic. That the main character of Stellar Blade has unrealistic proportions. And then you realize it's modeled after the main developer's wife. She literally was the mocap model for it. And it's like, can we not be reductive on video games? Can we just look at them for what they are? Just take a look at them and enjoy them for what they are, or don't. If you don't like the game, don't play it. It's that simple. Just don't buy it, don't indulge in it, don't engage with it. Like me with Dark Souls. And that's all people have to do. Is just turn a blind eye to it. It's going to be like me with Grand Theft Auto 6. Whenever that decides to come out. 2027, 2028, whenever. 2034. 2142. It'll come up, it'll eventually come out. Don't know when, but when it does finally come out, I'm not going to get it. I don't see a point and a reasoning behind it, to be honest with you. I've played Grand Theft Autos ever since number 3. I did not play the original 2. And yet, when I played Grand Theft Auto 3, Grand Theft Auto Vice City was okay. I think the big selling point was the 80s music for me. Other than that, no. Didn't care. Grand Theft Auto 4 felt like Grand Theft Auto 3. Grand Theft Auto 5, I barely played it. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas felt like Grand Theft Auto Vice City, but in the desert Southwest. So it not much has changed. And say that people, of course, would say, if it's not broke, don't fix it. That's all well and good, but you could try to expand upon your game and make it different. The only thing that they changed in Grand Theft Auto 5 was the fact that there's online play that doesn't suck. So... But even then, it's poorly regulated. You could, you know, cheat and cheat and cheat, and nobody does anything.
I need money.
And yes, it is just as bad as, say, like, Call of Duty. Warzone, when people are, you know, cheating in Warzone. Which is half the reason I made my But Will It Snipe videos, by the way. Is to curtail cheating in Warzone. Of course, people would say, how on earth can you curtail cheating in Warzone or cheating allegations in Warzone by creating a But Will It Snipe video? To be perfectly honest with you, it's because it shows lethality at range. And it shows that these weapons can be that lethal at 50, 75 meters. With aim assist on, it's not hard for a person to track with the body. And yes, the aim assist just exists for everybody. So it doesn't really surprise me if people run aim assist and completely dump on another player. So yes, there is a reason why I do it.
Greetings.
You need a better spear? No, of course not. Why would he? Wow. Same amplified damage. But I just think that if gaming got back to its roots of just making something fun, playable, and have a replayability factor, just drop the messaging in every game completely. Make a fun game to have fun. That's it. And nowadays, I mean, like, if you thought there was going to be a burgeoning video game market before, wait. Just you wait. And this is something I will give people advice. This is my hot take on it, right? AI. They say, well, AI is going to get to the point where it's developing games altogether. Sure, yeah, it probably will. However, here's my take. If an AI develops a game by itself and launches it, what's the point? It can't spend the money. So whoever runs the AI and owns the AI is going to want the money. So it's not an AI that's doing it. It's a guy behind the screen prompting the AI to build him the game. And he wants money for doing nothing. Whatever. And it would spark outrage. Fine. Here's how you should use AI. You have your AI build the framework. Okay? So your basic triggers like click to move. Basic triggers like this. No problem. Have your AI build that. Have your AI build your skill abilities. Like you right click, it fires. Have it write all of that basic code. The actual building blocks of a game. And then you put your creative spin on it. You rename the abilities, you make them do certain types of damage, you do certain things depending on what you want to build. You customize what the AI has spat out for you. If the game functions the way you wanted it to when they spat out the framework, you customize the framework and make it your own. And people would say, well, wait a minute. That's just taking the AI's work. How's that any different than having just the AI build it? And I posit this as a difference. How's it any different than taking, say, Mario and making another platformer? It's the same thing. You have two buttons. One button, when held, dashes, and the other button, when pressed, jumps. You can do jump dashes, and in certain degrees, say with like Mega Man, you could do slides if you press down and said button. How's it any different? It's not. You're taking the same basic framework that someone else built, and you're building something different with it. It's no different. Morally, it's no different. Subjectively, it is different because people say, well, someone else had to come up with it. Okay. Someone came up with AI, and AI helped you build it. So, and it's still, even then, let's say you make an RPG. You have two types of RPG. You have the action RPG, like this. You have a turn-based RPG. You have ones that are somewhere in between, but I won't get into that. But you have a turn-based RPG, like Expedition 33 or whatever it's called. Okay. Those are archetypes. They've already been made by somebody else. This was already made ages ago when you talk about the roots of the roots of the tree, the original Final Fantasy, the original Dragon Warrior, Dragon Quest, turn-based RPGs, which was all spawned off of previous things, which was from MUDs or multi-user dungeons, which were also turn-based RPG, which was based off of Dungeons and Dragons, which was made by Gary Gygax. So if all of these things are nothing more than an iteration and an improvement upon the previous, aren't all turn-based RPGs like Expedition 33 or whatever, or Baldur's Gate 3 or whatever, aren't they all just an iteration of Dungeons and Dragons? So by that logic, we can all just literally throw them all under the bus and say you ripped off Gary Gygax. He built it, you just modified it. Or can we take the higher road and say, okay, now that we know we're building off of somebody else's framework and customizing it for what we want for our creative vision, how's that any different than an AI building a framework and you doing it? It's not. They build the code framework because I'll tell you right now, I have storyline ideas that I would love to make a game out of. I cannot code to save my life. The first game I made, and yes, I did make one, I used RPG Maker, which did exactly what I wanted to. It created the framework, and it simplified the framework. By simplifying the framework and allowing me to do it the way I wanted to, within the confines of the program, it made it easy for me to create a game. And by making it easy for me to create a game, it allowed me to do what I wanted to do and have fun doing it. And I did. And I enjoyed making my game. But how was RPG Maker any different than using AI? I didn't technically code it. So no, it's not like looking on somebody else's homework and saying I'm copying it. It's not. And the art assets were all stock art assets from RPG Maker. The storyline was my own. The voice acting in it was my own. And so that's how you put a creative spin on things. If you could do that with AI, and then to a degree, you could have the AI even make artistic backgrounds that you then customize with your own flair. If you are artistic, you can have them do the backgrounds, and then you fill in the backgrounds with color, foregrounds, characters. It makes it so that it splits the workload and it allows for smaller development studios of one and two people to make a quality game and to make a quality product. Because there are people out there with large creative vision, and I think that those creative visions are stymied by the complexity of learning something new. Whether it be complexity because they don't have enough time to devote away from work, whether it be complexity because it's too hard for them to grasp and wrap their head around it immediately and it takes them a lot of time, or whether it be because they don't want to, they're afraid to let this story out that they want to tell because they're afraid other people will take it and run away with it. And they don't want that because that is their story. this having AI is going to create a video game creation renaissance like no other. Like absolutely no other, and it will be fantastic. I think once people realize that AI doesn't have to be restrictive, you don't, and you're still going to have haters of AI. You're still going to have a plethora of people who look at AI, upturn their nose, and say, it's not made by a human. How is it not? The AI didn't prompt itself to make the code. The AI didn't create itself out of nowhere. How's it not human made? If you want to boil it down to basics, it's all human made. And using a pseudo Shintoist belief, it's all made by God. If you think about it. And that's not a religious standpoint. That's just, you take a look at the Shinto belief. They believe God exists in everything. Okay? So if God exists in everything, in the Shinto belief, and AI was created by man, and God exists in man, therefore God exists in AI, which means the programming code also has God existing within it, because the code was made by AI, which was made by man, which has God within it. It's called the transitive property, I believe. At least that's what I believe it's called. But through that sense of logic, everything is man-made. If nothing else, everything is man-made. Even the whole AI debacle of like, oh, but you didn't code it. No, but it was my idea that got it coded. But you're still going to have pushback. You're going to have pushback, but if you do it well enough, and this is my true standpoint on it, if you modify the AI code well enough, no one will ever know you've made a game with AI. No one will ever know. Because if you modify it well enough, it will look organic from the ground up. Because after all, it is your vision that is prompting it. Your vision, your idea, you type the prompt, it makes the prompt as you want it. I, for one, don't have a problem with AI being used in creation of imagery or otherwise when it comes to, like, art and games. And the reason I don't have an issue with it is, if you're creating a piece of artwork through AI, and you're like, yes, I want it to look in this style, or I want it to look in that style. Okay, yeah, you want it to appear as somebody else did it. Understandable, that might rub people the wrong way. Alright, sure. But what if I want to do it as an homage? They say, oh, but you didn't do it, though. It was done by a machine as an homage. Okay. What about those people, then, to continue this thought experiment, what about the people that went around making authentic forgeries? That existed. They went around making fake Picassos. They went around making, fake Van Goghs. They went around making fake Da Vinci's. Like, Da Vinci did sketches. Michelangelo. He painted the Mona Lisa, right? At least I think he did. Be wrong on that. Probably am wrong on that. I don't indulge in too much classical art, at least portrait artwork. But there have been knockoffs, and there have been professional forgeries, authentic forgeries, and they made money doing it, and all they did was copy it. So it's almost hypocrisy in its highest form by saying, well, that homage that you're making to, say, Bob Ross. You make an homage to Bob Ross and you use AI to do it. And yet, they would say, oh, well, that's in bad taste because you use AI to do it. How so? It's an homage. I'm going to hang it in my own house. I'm not going to sell it. I mean, if you're going to do it and sell it, then yeah, that's kind of morally repugnant. But I'm saying if I was to build something in an AI and have it build up a photograph or a piece of artwork, I would have it generate something that is no longer in creation. Like a Salvador Dali, the melting clocks or whatever, right? If I had it do a melting clock sort of Salvador Dali style painting, but completely different, like melting iPhones or whatever, and I hang that in my own house, who cares? Right? Of course, a lot of people would care. I wouldn't. It allows you to decorate a house and customize things. That's the way I see it. Now, that's not going to take away real creativity because there's a lot of people that do sketches. There's a lot of people that do artwork of all types. And the artwork scene is still very rife. Like, take a look at some of those spray painting street painters. And I'm not talking to people that tag rail cars or anything like that. I'm talking the guy that pulls out a thing. He takes a spray can and he starts spraying it. He's putting pot lids down and he's spraying around it and making a moon with like a piece of newspaper. These people are making actual art out of nothing, and
Welcome to my shop.
it only takes them 2-3 minutes to make them, and they sell them
Let's trade.
$30-$40. Cool. Actual artwork still exists and in large quantities, so it's not like AI is going to take it all away. But I'm just saying, if you use AI as a tool in a toolbox to help you create framework for a game, there's no problem. Not in my eyes. And there shouldn't be in anybody's eyes. Because everything is all derivative off of the original design. Doesn't matter what game you choose. Pick a game, the derivative design is there. Dark Souls, Gary Gygax. Again, it's an RPG. It has damage numbers, it has rolls, it has basically saving throws, success checks, failure checks, etc. It's basically Dungeons and Dragons is what his roots are. And that can be extrapolated out to whatever you want. And you choose any game and it boils down to specific things. It's just a copy, a glorified copy. But yet, now that AI gets into the game and people can actually make that glorified copy, and if they do it right and use it to make it the framework, everybody still has a problem with it. They have a meltdown. It's like the Joker. You go back and copy Mario and nobody bats an eye. You use AI, you make a copy, and everyone loses their minds. You know why? Because that AI's taking jobs from people who are otherwise losing it programming a heap of manure. As seen with a lot of games lately. At any rate, those are my opinions. That's this video. I had a good time. We made some progress, too. I hope you did as well. Now, my opinions, obviously, are going to be hot takes. A lot of people are going to be, probably in the comments, well, I don't totally agree with the AI, blah, 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 blah. Whatever. That's your opinion. You're welcome to have it. You're welcome to leave them, too. I love interacting with them, and I love having a discourse about them. unlike other people, I don't get upset about comments. I truly appreciate every single comment. Even the ones that made fun of me on my retirement video, I appreciated it. Why? Because it allowed me to get feedback. It allowed me to chat with people. Nothing discouraged me. People said, "Oh, I sounded like I smoked cigarettes." People say that I'm fat. Well, great. I own a mirror. I can see that. No surprise to me. Thank you for your feedback. I appreciate it. That's just the way I am. It doesn't bother me because I've heard like literally worse things throughout my entire life. None of it bothers me at all. But I appreciate it all. I appreciate every single thing. And I enjoy having that discourse with people that have differing opinions 100% of the time. And I would, at some point in time, love to have a point of where I could have almost like a podcast, but not a podcast. As I don't like how everybody does that. They branch out into podcasts and cryptocurrencies, which is awful. I mean, I don't trust crypto as far as I can throw it. That's me. Again, another unpopular opinion. Nevertheless, I hope everybody has a fantastic evening, a wonderful tomorrow, and as always, have a good one.